Hey guys, today's video is about complex numbers, and this is a pre-chapter video, and we're going to talk about how to add, subtract complex numbers, multiply complex numbers, divide complex numbers, and if time permits, we're going to see how to perform operation with negative numbers. So let's go ahead and see what a complex number and imaginary numbers are. So here, imaginary number, the unit is I, and is defined as, I would like to remember it as, let me go ahead and get my tool here, freehand. I would like to remember it as I square is equal to negative 1. And any number in the form a plus bi is called a complex number. So a complex number technically is a real number and an imaginary number together makes it a complex number. And a standard form of a complex number is a plus bi. So here we use the imaginary number I because we cannot find square roots of negative numbers like negative 49, negative 27. So that's why we take help of this imaginary number, where I would like to remember it as I square is equal to negative 1. And again, complex number is a combination of a real number and imaginary number. Operation on complex numbers. We can add, subtract, multiply, and divide complex numbers. So now the easiest way I would like to tell you is complex numbers are just like adding x's. So if I add an x, oops, that's a bad x, x plus x, what do I get? I get 2x, right? So if I'm adding an imaginary number, 3i plus 4i, what do I get? 7i. You see what I'm saying? So you need to treat a complex number as an you need to treat the imaginary number as an x. So x plus x is 2x, so 3i plus 4i is a 7i. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at how things work here. So if I need to perform the operation 5 minus 2i plus 3 minus 3 plus 3i. You know what I would like to do? I would like to write them one underneath the other. 5 minus 2i. I'm adding 3 plus 3i. This is a complex number where 5 is a real number and 2i is an imaginary number. 3 is a real number, 3i is an imaginary number. So I'm adding real numbers, imaginary numbers, imaginary numbers. It's just like adding like terms. 5 plus 3 gives me 8 here. Negative 2, positive 3 gives me plus 1i. I don't have to write a 1. I would simply write a I. Okay? See? I'm gonna put all the real numbers together, and I'm gonna put all the imaginary numbers together. Go ahead and add it. I get 8 plus I. Now let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and see the steps here first so I can show you in drawing. I would like to do it this way. I would like to add. First of all, it's a subtraction, so I need to distribute the negative sign to this one as well as this one. Let me go ahead and do that first. So it's going to be 2 plus 6i. Negative times 12 is negative 12. Negative times negative I makes it a positive I. Now I am going to add the real numbers. What are my real numbers here? 2 and negative 12. When I add 2 and negative 12, what do I get? Negative 10. Imaginary numbers, 6 and I. What do I get? I get 7i. My handwriting could not be that nice because this tool is not letting me write neatly, but you get the idea, right? So you add the real numbers and the imaginary numbers. Final answer, negative 10 plus 7i. Now multiplying complex numbers. So how do I multiply complex numbers? So before we go ahead and do this, I just wanted to go back to the previous one, and I wanted to show you using the calculator. So here I have my calculator. I'm going to clear this up first. Before you start doing operations with complex numbers, you have to go back and change the mode. I'm going to click on mode and I'm going to go all the way down to real. You see I'm in real here. I'm going to move over to a plus bi. That is, I'm telling my calculator I'm going to be putting in imaginary numbers. Watch out. So I'm going to click enter and I'm going to click second and mode. It's going to take me back to that screen. Now let me go ahead and see if we can add the previous problems using calculator. So the first one was 5. So let me go ahead and put it. 5 minus 2. To put in an I, I'm going to put second and the dot. Close parentheses plus open parentheses 3 plus 3. To put in an I, second and dot, and I'm gonna click enter. I have 8 plus I. That's what I have here. So 8 plus I, 8 plus I. So right. All right, now the next one would be 2 plus 6 second I, close parentheses, minus open parentheses 12 minus second I, close parentheses, enter. Negative 10 plus 7i. See, I have the same thing again. Negative 10 plus 7i. Alright, so two ways using calculator and now no calculator. And if I want to multiply the complex numbers, this is what I'm going to do. I'm simply going to multiply just like how I distribute. What did I do? Just like how I distribute, I'm going to do 7i times 2, 7i times negative 9. So let's go ahead and see what I get. So that would give me 7 times 2 is 14i. 7 times 9 is 63. 7 times negative 9 is negative 63. I times I is I squared. Whenever you're writing complex numbers, the highest power of I should be I. I cannot have an I square. But we know that I square is equal to, negative 1. So I'm going to replace this I squared with negative 1. And let's see what happens. I replace the I squared with negative 1, so I get negative 63 times negative 1, and I get 14 plus 63. Now let's go ahead and do it using a calculator. So if I go up here, I am going to clear this so you don't confuse yourself. 7 second I, open parentheses, 2 minus 9 second I, close parentheses, enter. See? 63 plus 4i. Whenever you're writing a complex number, always the real number comes first and then the imaginary number. Alright? So we rewrite it that way. Same thing again, just like how you distribute and do FOIL. That's exactly what you're going to be doing here. So let me go ahead and show you. So it's going to be 5 times 6, 5 times negative 7, 4 times 4i times 6, 4i times negative 7i. And let's go and see what we get. 5 times 6, negative 5 times negative 7, 4 times I. So I get 30 minus 35i, negative 25. I know that I can combine these two, right? And I cannot have an I square. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. And I squared becomes negative 1, negative 35, positive 24 gives me negative 11. And I can still combine 30 and 28, and I get 58 minus 11i. Now let's go ahead and do it using calculator. So if I go ahead and do this, I'm going to clear this. I'm going to have 5 plus 4 second I times 6 minus 7 second I, close, 58 minus 11i. I'm going to go ahead and work the division in class because it's slightly different from multiplication. Hope you guys learn how to use calculator with complex numbers with this video. See you in class.